What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. We are in a podcast audit episode with my new pod pal, Marge, from the Bite Me, the show about edibles podcast. We've never covered this topic. This is why I love podcasting. I get to learn about different niches and different topics and different podcasting backgrounds every single time I do one of these. So I'm very excited for this one. Marge, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, Adam.
All right. So let's dig in. Let's set a goal. Let's kind of set our focus point for the episode here. So let's say you and I are having a conversation 6 months from now, and things are going really well with your show. I just need you to kind of define that for me. What would going really well in 6 months look like for you?
Going really well would probably be, I would think first and foremost, an increase in downloads, because that's also going to translate hopefully into people visiting my website and that kind of thing. And just more people knowing about my show. It's pretty niche. And, podcasting, the discoverability is always a bit of an issue, especially when you're competing against celebrity podcasts and whatnot, because they're getting so popular now too. So just that discoverability and increasing downloads would be a big one. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And kind of rolling off of that, who's the ideal listener for your show, in your opinion?
The ideal listener is someone who is interested in edibles, unsurprisingly. Mostly home cooks, I would imagine, people who are experimenting with making their own edibles, but they could also just be interested in cannabis generally, but it is geared to edibles lovers, enthusiasts. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think one really simple low-hanging fruit tip would be some sort of a title extension of your show. And I recommend this quite a bit. I'm actually getting ready to add one to Podcasting Business School. I'm like, I should do this too. Giving all these people this amazing advice, and it always works. Let's do this too. So nothing changes about your branding at all. So everything you do, social media, website, everything is still the same. Bite Me, the show about edibles. But on the podcast title line, we add a little extension where it's like tips for or advice around. And I would love to have the words cannabis, marijuana, like those, because those are the words that people will be searching. And people, I think edible is a searchable term, but I think more people search marijuana in Apple Podcasts than they would edibles. Right. Do you agree with that, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, or maybe just cannabis podcasts, generally speaking, too.
Yeah. So we want to hit those words. So like just a simple line that's an extension on the title line, tips for or advice around or advice for the people interested in all things cannabis, marijuana, and edible. And we don't need to say edibles again, but home, making edibles at home or something like that.
Right.
Like something that I like having that for SEO, but it's also a nice, who's this show for? Because like you said, there's a lot of shows out there in this space, and there are a lot of like celebrity based and things like that. So how do we win that game?
Mm-hmm.
To me, we play the people's champion card. We're like real people. It's not Joe Rogan with his $300 million Spotify contract that can do whatever with his space age technology and his, whatever he can do whatever he wants. So you're kind of like boots on the ground, people's champion. So kind of the vibe of what real people are doing at home that are interested in edibles, or like something like that, like not in the title line, but that's kind of the vibe that I would put out there to differentiate yourself. So what can we put in the title line? So advice and tips on all things marijuana, cannabis for the novice at home, or something like that.
So you mentioned that I do, because I have a companion website for my show, and on the main page, I have obviously the name of the show, and then helping cooks make great edibles at home. So I could probably use something like that, but then include the word cannabis, just because you're saying that's a more searchable term than edibles, possibly.
Love it. Yes. Okay. So it's a keyword, and we've got some sort of identifying term, because when people search cannabis, and then all the things pop up, and then your show is very specific as to what it's about and who it's for. They're like, ooh,
Right.
the other ones are called Fun with Marijuana or whatever. And they're like, oh, this is actually about making edibles at home. And this sounds like you're gonna win their attention first from that search screen, which is
Mhm.
that's a big part of what we're doing. And then the other thing we have to really look at is your show art with
Mhm.
that, because we want that to have the differentiating factors highlighted as well. So whether that subtitle is like some people will put it on there like a stamp in a different color. So that's just like it pops to where people are seeing this. It's really easy to read. So they go, oh, that sounds like it's a niche that I'm interested in kind of diving down into a little bit. So
Right.
just those two tips right there, I think will help quite a bit with your general SEO. But then as far as growth goes outside, like that's the organic stuff. That's people searching certain words. We show up for that, and they show up and they find your show. We don't have to pay for it, and it's awesome. So we love that kind of growth. Then we look at growth from things like, I mean, the first area I like to analyze with people in this format is like social media marketing, email marketing. What does that look like? So you drop a new episode. What do we do to tell people about it? What's the current process look like?
Usually a new episode goes out and I do social media, a lot of social media. I try, and I think I actually got this tip from listening to one of your episodes, was to
Good.
have 3 different assets out over 72 hours, I believe it was. So I've been
Good.
really trying to do that over the last few weeks, actually. I do a newsletter, an email newsletter, but I'm only sending out, it's only a monthly one, but I'll always put in recent episodes that I've done for like the last month as well.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, and with the monthly, is that just from like it's time to fit it in your schedule, or you don't like writing it, or what's the reason behind the monthly versus like a weekly?
It's probably time, and also I don't want to spam the people that have signed up for my newsletter. So I do sometimes send a second one out during the month, but typically it's just once a month, and I try and provide a lot of value. But I do get newsletters from some content creators, and I'm like, God, they send a lot of emails, and I just don't want to be. I want them to look forward to the email and not think, oh, here's another one, and then they just
Yeah,
delete it,
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I see where you're coming from on that, and what I would challenge you to do is it's kind of like weekly podcast content. If we can kind of stay in front of them and in their ears in a positive way, then we continue to be like that brand that they look to and they feel connected to. So I would challenge you just to spend a little bit of time thinking what would be, because you're obviously interested in your own niche, like you have interest, like what would be the newsletter in your niche that you would look forward to and open up every week,
Hmm.
and then create that.
Right.
And that's one factor, but it also needs to be time efficient for you to create.
Now, would a newsletter, because I have seen some content creators send out a newsletter just specifically to say, "Hey, I have a new episode that's come out," and then that's sort of the newsletter, and then they might have something separate for more detailed content.
Yeah, let's look at this a little bit. So, some different strategies. One would be like keep your monthly, well thought out, well written newsletter that you've been doing, and then do a weekly episode drop reminder, like a little snippet. Now, I feel like that strategy though doesn't fit that episode one or that criteria number one that we just talked about, where like, is that the thing? Like it's just an announcement. Hey, new episode. If they're already subscribed to your show, like she's already telling me about this. I'm already listening. And it works. Like it's kind of halfway there though. And where I would challenge you is what I like to do, like we could play off of the bite me, like a quick bite or a small
Mhm.
bites or something like that. A small bite, the weekly small bite or something like that. And once per month, you do the big bite, and then the rest of them all small bites. But do like a quick edibles tip that maybe is just what I would do is go, okay, what's the most recent episode that you want to promote? What's a quick bite tip that is connected to that? And just kind of drop it as a standalone tip and then go, hey, and if you want to go a little bit deeper into this, check out the full episode right here.
Right.
And so maybe if you like, I have been doing this where I kind of go even a step further where I go, all right, what's a tangential thought or topic that I don't even cover in the episode? And I write about that in my newsletter. And that's the only place you're going to get it is
Mhm.
there. But
Right.
then I know if they are interested in that topic, they will also be interested in the topic of the episode because there's some sort of connection there, but it's not a segment of the episode. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're picking sort of like a related theme.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and only
Right.
you can kind of connect the dots
Right.
of what that is. So just think about that a little bit. But again, we want that second criteria of this is quick and easy for you to create. So if you could sit down, per week and go, all right, here's the topic. Here's a tangential thought that I didn't actually talk about in the episode, but it would lead into interest in the episode. Do 1 to 2 paragraphs, just it's a quick bite, small bite, boom.
Mhm.
And then if you like this, you're going to love this episode. Here's a couple highlight factors of that. That way you kind of do your little promotion thing, but they're getting that other value is really important because that's why I'm going to open the email. Like, ooh, this is the thing. I only get it here. And my readers know
Mhm.
that, they're like, they know when they get an email from me, they're going to get stuff that they're not going to get on social media. They're not going to get on the podcast because it's just, I write it in the moment. It's literally, for me, it is a quick bite. It's like, here's where my stream of consciousness is in this very moment that I'm writing this down, and I blast it out. So if you could do that quickly and efficiently, and I find it's a really challenging exercise as a content creator. Like it gets my brain it's like a brain workout. Like I send my brain to the content creation gym on Mondays and Wednesdays a little bit. I'm like, all right, and what's the connected topic? And yeah,
Right,
and
right,
honestly, if I get a good newsletter response from that connected topic, I'm like, all right, that's a future episode. Bang. And that
right.
adds it to the Rolodex of upcoming episodes. So how's this all feeling? Does this feel like it's too much, or are we hitting the sweet spot
No,
here?
I do like that, and the whole quick bite thing, I have done, like, quick bite episodes. It's been a long time since I've done them, but then, it does sort of tie in with the title of the show, I
Yeah,
guess, and just
it
coming
makes
up with
sense.
something that they're not gonna find on social or on the show itself. I do like that idea because you are providing a little extra value and then encouraging them to listen to the episode.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you got to ask yourself, the ultimate filter is you ask yourself the question, would I want to read this? Would this pique my
Mhm.
curiosity? Would I open this on a regular basis? And if you're saying, yeah, and you'll be able to tell, like when you write it, like, all right, like you feel
Yeah.
kind of like that was good.
Yeah.
So that's the feeling that we want to kind of put out there. So yeah, I think that's going to be worth your time because again, if you're competing against all the celebrities, all the big brands, the way we win is connectedness. Joe Rogan isn't sending in the moment emails to anybody or celebrity, cannabis expert person or giant conglomerate company. They're not sending those in the moment, heartfelt, current stream of consciousness. They're just not doing that.
Mhm.
So that's how we win. We're the people's champion. We're boots on the ground. I'm here to connect. I'm not here to scale and like we want to scale our business and stuff like that. But that's like I'm going to scale and still stay connected at the same time. Like the connection is the key. And I think that's what's really helped me win with my brand against these people that have giant, budgets and sales teams and all this stuff. Like I get as many coaching clients as I want basically because people are lining up because they relate to me.
Mhm.
They're like, this
Right.
guy, he sounds like me and he walks and talks like me and he has a lifestyle that I want to duplicate in some way. And I don't know, like it works. So I think if you lean into that, I think it'll work for you too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about SEO. I really like that you are implementing that 72-hour window marketing strategy. Let's keep that going. The newsletter thing, just with the connectedness, I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be worth your time to at least explore. Um, what social media platform are you trying to play on most, or where are you targeting the most, or where are you getting the most engagement? I guess that we should start there.
Probably Instagram, just because that's the one I'm most active on. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well, a little bit of Pinterest, but Instagram's the one that I use personally the most, so that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that, yeah, leaning into the social media platform that you're getting engagement and you kind of feel like you speak the language and you can create content like with relative ease, that's a great place to be. So, leaning into Instagram. Have you noticed any like weird filtering of the algorithm because of your topic at all? Like, have you noticed any of that?
100%.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
wondering, I was like,
that's always an issue. Like, a while ago, I stopped hashtagging a lot of my videos, content, or whatever that I was posting, because if you use anything cannabis related, you could run the risk of having your account just suspended completely. Um,
yeah,
and I have been
yeah,
shadow banned for sure, that kind
yeah.
of thing. So you do have to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. That's a very interesting topic. So, okay. So I'll connect you, maybe with my friend Brittany Batla. She's an Instagram expert I had on, not too long ago. And she's really good at like navigating all that stuff, is like
Mm,
how to not get shadow banned, how to come out of
okay.
a shadow ban, like stuff like that. So, all right, cool. So I'll make that connection happen for you. Um, when it comes to guesting, that's another area of growth that we could look at, is leveraging other people's podcasts. And since there's a lot of shows in this niche. How are we doing there? Are we networking with other podcasters in the cannabis space? Are we guesting on other people's shows? How's that looking?
I'm probably not on as many other shows, but I do have people on my show quite often.
Okay.
Usually, I'm averaging maybe 1 to 2 interviews a month by the time it's all said and done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I would do if I were you, every interview that you do, prioritize people that have a podcast,
Okay.
so that you can make friends, invite them on, make friends, create awesome content. And many times they'll be like, "Hey, you need to come on my show next." And this is how I built my legend in the health podcast space. Like, I'm pretty darn good at making friends. I would always add value first, and away we go. And I got invited on a lot of podcasts because I had, a lot of the top ranked podcasters on my show first. And I just kind of got sticky with the relationship building. So yeah, whenever you look at like a list of guests that you want on, I would prioritize somebody that's got a show that seems like you'd be a good fit for, and just keep adding value until they invite you on. Just kind of friend them into submission and just
Right.
like, like I would, if you have somebody that's got a pretty decent sized podcast on, have a great interview. If they don't invite you on right then, I would invite them like, "Hey, let's go live on Instagram together. Let's create some more content," or maybe do like a little mini series on Instagram, or do some social media, real collaborations or whatever, and just add value, add value, add value. And a lot of times, again, you get invited back on. And this is a really effective strategy, especially if you're already doing interviews. It's going to help you out quite a bit there. And I like the idea of 1 to 2 per month, keeping a nice balance. Are you doing solo episodes the rest of the time?
Yeah.
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 So that's going to be important just for like expert positioning. Now, when it comes to like offers and things like that, are you monetizing off of like an online course on cooking edibles, or like have we explored any of like coaching offering or anything like that?
I haven't really done that too much. I do have like a little mini course on my website, which I haven't really spent any time promoting. So it's probably something I should probably focus on.
Yeah.
And I do have like an edibles journal that's available on Amazon too. That,
Okay.
yeah.
So I feel like, you know, monetization opportunities with cooking, like a little mini cooking course. Like, it could even be a live. I'm always thinking in funnels, Marge. I can't help it. And it's
Mhm.
like, um, 'cause I see funnels as a lot of new online entrepreneurs fear the funnel a little bit. They're like, "Oh, email marketing and, all this stuff. I can't figure it out." But I see it as building a community to client bridge. And like, how do I get my listeners activated and interested to the point where they want to do something for free? And then I just overwhelm them with awesomeness. And then they want to pay me for the next step. That's the way I think about funnels. And for you, with like like a free edibles cooking challenge, maybe it's just like a 3-day thing, and you're live on Instagram, or you're, you know, doing live Zoom chat thing, but it's an email opt-in. So we're building your email list. So that's awesome. You can promote it to your email list. Like, "Hey, we're going to specialize on a certain technique or flavor or whatever." Like, we're going to do lollipops or brownies or whatever, like like having some little niche challenge and ways to perfect this for maximum, um, effectiveness, dosing. Like I can just imagine all the things that people screw up with this,
Yeah.
and you can do this little mini challenge, and then maybe you've got a full on course, cookbook sort of thing that you could sell off the back edge of that. Like this is the exact formula that I used when I started making money as a health podcaster. So I started doing these 5-day free challenges. I was kind of like, okay, here's the thing that I want to sell, mini course or whatever. I usually would do these like paid 28-day courses. And I'd be like, all right, here's the topic of that. Here's the 5-day challenge that kind of piques their interest. It's the appetizer for the bigger topic that they're going to pay for. I would go live 5 days, do my little challenge. And the first time I did this, I called it the Hello Abs Challenge. I went live and did like an abdominal workout, true fitness style or whatever, and firing people up. And they're like, hey, I've got a 28-day online course. It's got daily workouts in there to follow along. Sold it for $37 and I sold 100 and something. So I made like 3,000, whatever dollars. And I was like, whoa, I just made $3,000 online to all these people that I didn't even have to like touch or like no physical, like personal trainer contact. I was like mind blown. I want to do this all the time. And then I started leveling up, doing like $97 challenge. I ended up doing several $10,000 plus launches with this. And I was like, wow. And that's actually what springboarded me into this podcasting business space, because other health podcasters started seeing me do this. Like, hey, can you teach me how to do that too? Because this seems like it's working. And that's where I figured out kind of my whole podcasting business model. But I think you could totally do this where you've got somewhere in that $37 to $97 course to sell at the back edge of this thing, where it's like edibles, foundations, or whatever. And you just do like literally the appetizer. Like, I mean, you could even, it could even be an edibles appetizer. I don't know. And like do different topics that you could just teach one style, one technique, one thing, and then do a 3 to 5 day challenge where you kind of touch on that. And then away you go. Or if you think it fits better, maybe it's just one like 90-minute session or something like that. That's like where you go from start to end. I don't know how long it takes to make all these things or whatever, but kind of like a cooking show, but something like that where it's freebie, where you're teaching, paid thing. Let's sell it and just drive. All you have to worry about is driving to the freebie with your email marketing and your show. I would sponsor your own episodes with the freebie, drive people to it. I think you could make money with this. So that was a long idea. How are we feeling about this?
I think it makes sense. Like offering, some more free content and having it go towards a course or something like that. I mean, I have created this course already, so that part's kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sell. I mean, you don't have to price it at a huge number either. Like I said, I was doing these between $37 and $97. And I mean, I did my $97 course and I sold over 100 of them. I'm like, 100 is a realistic number. If you've got an audience, like I can sell 100 things and make $10,000. I was like, wow, this is great. I just did a 5-figure sales day. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that felt really good. But yeah, I think if you've already built the course, you could even do a little audio series kind of leading up to it as you're kind of advertising. So think about that challenge topic, do a couple episodes it's kind of like the appetizer to the appetizer. It's like, all right, I feel like we need to, okay, here's the end thing I want to sell. What's the appetizer to that? That's the free course. What's the appetizer to that? Those are my podcast episodes that I'm promoting the freebie. Does that make sense? We're kind of lining up the content dominoes a little bit there.
Yeah.
If that is helpful. All right. Yeah. So we've got lots of homework, lots of things to work on. We talked about some SEO. We talked about newsletter, a little bit of marketing. We talked about other people's podcasts, guesting strategies, and a little bit of a funnel build out here with a free challenge. If you were to only focus on one thing, what do you think would be the thing that you want to take action on first? That's because then I can kind of help hold you accountable as well.
Probably. Oh God. I mean, I'd like to do it all, of course, but
and you can.
Yeah. As I'm looking through the list, like The newsletter and the interviews are two that seem to make a lot of sense that I could do like right now,
Yeah.
very quickly and very easily. And I have found that when I have people on my own show as a guest, if they are podcasters themselves, they are so much better and more willing to promote said episode to
Hmm.
their own audience than any other type of guest.
I
Who some
agree.
of them who are barely even acknowledged that you've done this episode after you put it out. You know what I mean? Like they might like your post or something, but yeah, it
Yeah.
runs the gamut. But still, the fellow podcasters are definitely going to help you promote the show because they're on it in
Yeah.
mutual benefit.
And like I always say, there's a special place reserved in hell for people that don't share out podcast episode that they're on.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So it's always the worst. Like, oh, thanks for not even realizing it went live.
Yeah,
Anyway, so okay. I feel like we've got some good marching orders here. I want to make sure that people know how to get into your space if they want to dive into your show or check out your website or follow you on social in case they want to do your upcoming free stuff that we talked about. So give us all of the connection points, Marge.
absolutely. So Bite Me, the show about edibles, can be found on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And I have a website, bitemepodcast.com. And that's where you'll find show notes and all kinds of free resources and other fun stuff there too. And finally, I am at Bite Me Podcast on most of the social platforms. But again, I'm most active on Instagram.
All right. Go give her a follow on the gram. All right, Marge, great episode here. I think we got some great action steps. Can't wait to see what you do with it. And for everybody that's listening in out there in podcast land, if you want to come on for a podcast audit, I'm opening up my schedule for the summer. Lots of opportunity on the schedule. So hop in. The waiting list is shorter, way shorter than normal. So hop on there. Just go to the website, www.podcastingbusiness.school, and get signed up for your own podcast audit. And with that, Pod Pals, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.